Hello everybody! Today we're making this mushroom baby rattle. It is really easily made, it's beginner friendly and makes just a great, very cute gift for any expecting parents or maybe babies you already know. So I'm going to show you how to do it today and I hope you enjoy the video. For your rattle, you're going to need the yarn in the color you like. For my first rattle, I just used pink and white, and this time I'm going to use teal and white. You're also going to need a rattle element. I just got this one online. If you like the rattle to be louder, you can just insert several of these, but I like the way this one sounds. You're also going to need a crochet hook. I'm using a 3.0 millimeter hook for the size of yarn I'm using. And you're also going to need some stuffing. We're going to start with the base of the mushroom. In order to do so, I'm going to make a magic circle first. And to do so, I'm going to take my yarn, wrap it from behind around my two fingers here, wrap it again, cross in the front, hold it here, and now I'm going to turn it, and you see these two strands of yarn. I'm going to go under the first strand, grab the second, pull through, now twist, grab the yarn from above and pull through the loop. Now I have a magic circle. Now that I have this magic circle, I'm going to do 6 stitches into the magic circle. So I'm going to go inside the circle, pull the yarn through, and go through both strands. 1, again, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now that I have this, I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch we made. You can just count back if you're not sure. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Insert the hook into this first stitch. And now I'm going to pull on the tail of the yarn to pull the circle shut. And now we're going to increase in every single stitch. So now we have 6 stitches and we're going to make it 12. So I'm going to go into the first stitch, pull through, and pull through both loops. And now I'm going to go into the same stitch again to make an increase. So now we have 2. Now I go into the next one, 3, 4, next stitch, 5, 6, next stitch, 7, 8, next one, 9, 10, and into the last one, 11, 12. Now we have the second round complete and we have 12 stitches in total. In this round, we are going to increase in every other stitch, and to make my life easier, I'm going to insert a marker just between the yarn and the last stitch in the needle. And we're going to make 18 single crochets in total, and we're going to do that by doing 1 single crochet and then in the next stitch increase and repeat that. So I'm going into the first one. We're doing 1 single crochet, and in the next stitch 1 and 2, so we have an increase. And I'm going to repeat that now 5 more times. So it's 1, and in the next one we're going to do an increase by doing 2. And repeat that until you hit your stitch marker. Now the last one, it's 1, and in the last stitch we're going to put 2. So now we have 18 stitches in total, and for the next 4 rounds you're going to do just 1 single crochet in every single stitch, so no more increases, just single crochets. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 in every single stitch until you hit the stitch marker, and you do this for 4 rounds. And the last 2 in the 4th row of doing single crochet in every stitch, and you can really see the shape starting to form of the bottom of our little mushroom. For the next row we're going to decrease in every other stitch, so we're going to have 12 stitches in total in the end again. So for that I'm going into the first stitch, just doing a single crochet, and now I'm going in the second stitch, pulling the yarn through, and now going into the third stitch, pulling the yarn through too. Now I have 3 loops of yarn on my hook, and I'm going to take the yarn and pull through all 3 and pull really tight so you don't have a hole there later on. I'm going to repeat that 5 more times, so pull through, not the stitch marker, do 1 single crochet, and now into the next one we're going to do a decrease, so we pull through, we don't pull the yarn through both loops, but we go into the next stitch, pull through again, we have 3 loops on the hook, and we pull through all 3 loops and pull tight. Now repeat that until you hit your stitch marker. And the last set, so just 1 single crochet and 1 decrease and pull tight. For the next row we're going to just do 1 single crochet in every single one of our 12 stitches. So it's 1, 2, 3, and the last 2. And we're going to move our stitch marker again. And for the next row, we're going to decrease in every 3rd stitch. So we're going to make 1 single crochet in the first and another in the second, so 2 single crochets. And after that, we're going to do 1 decrease as we did before. So you have 3 loops on your hook, and you're going to pull through all 3 of them. My stitch marker is trying to escape. There we go. And by doing so, you're going to end up with 9 single crochets in the end. So we're going to repeat that again. 1, 2, and a decrease into the next 2 stitches. 3 loops on the hook and pull tight. And only once more. 1 and 2 and 1 decrease and pull tight. Now you have 9 single crochets or 9 stitches in total, and you're going to do 1 single crochet in every single stitch for the next 2 rows. So I'm going to move my stitch marker and simply go into every stitch and make 1 single crochet. And the last 2 single crochets to complete the second round of single crochets in every single stitch. So at this point I'm just going to take this tail because it's starting to bother me. I'm just gonna try to push it into our little mushroom because we're not gonna need it. There we go, now it's gone. And I'm going to place my stitch marker again. And for the next row, we are going to do 2 single crochets and then increase into the 3rd stitch. So it's going to be 1 single crochet in the 1st stitch, 1 in the 2nd, and then 2. There we go. 2 single crochets into the 3rd stitch, and you're going to repeat that 2 more times. It's 1, and 2, and an increase into the next stitch. And the last set, so it's 1, 2, and another increase into the last stitch in this row. There we go. Now we move our stitch marker again, and now we're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase, and we're going to repeat that 6 times. So now we have 12 stitches in total, and after that we're going to have 18 stitches. So I'm going to go into the first one. It's 1 single crochet, and I'm going to increase in the 2nd stitch, do 1, go in the same one again, and do 2. And now you repeat that until you hit your stitch marker. And the last set, so it's 1, and then 1 increase into the last stitch. Now we have 18 stitches in total. We're going to move our stitch marker, and for the next row we're going to do 2 single crochets and 1 increase, and we're going to end up with 24 stitches. So it's going to be 1, 2, and now an increase into the 3rd one, and you're again going to repeat this pattern until you hit your stitch marker. And our last increase, so now for our final row we're going to move our stitch marker again, and this time we're going to do 3 single crochets and then 1 increase into the 4th stitch, and we're going to end up with 30 stitches in total. So that's 1, 2, and 3, and now 1 increase into the 4th stitch, and repeat that 5 more times. And now for the last set. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 1 increase into the last one. So we're going to bind off there. I'm going to remove my stitch marker. The way I do it is just I go into the next stitch, pull the yarn through and pull it right through the last loop. I'm just going to leave a little tail and pull it all the way through. Pull tight, and now you have the base of your little mushroom. What we're going to do with this one now is we're going to stuff it as tightly as we can. So you really want this to be super tight, so you can grab onto it and it's not going to get loose later on, especially because stuffing deflates with time, so it will get a little softer naturally. So you really want to stuff it as much as you can. So I'm just going to do that by taking little chunks of the stuffing, putting it in here, and then I'm going to take the back of my crochet hook and just start shoving it in. It's a little fiddly, especially at the beginning of the chunks, but it's going to all work out in the end. And I'm just gonna keep doing that. There we go. And really push it in there until I feel like there is no more stuffing that can go into this little mushroom base. So now that I have this stuffed pretty tightly, I'm going to set this aside. And the next thing we're going to work on is the top of the mushroom, and you can already see it's basically a half sphere. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to take my yarn of choice for the top, and I'm again going to start with a magic circle. So I'm going to go from behind, I'm going to wrap my yarn around once, wrap it again, cross in the front, and hold it with my 2 fingers, or with my 1 finger actually. And I'm going to turn around. I have these 2 strands on my fingers. I'm going to go under the first one, grab the second and pull it through. Now I'm going to twist the needle towards me, grab the strand of yarn here and pull it through the little loop. So now I have my magic circle. As we did before, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the magic circle. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And again, I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch that we made. That's just because when we pull the magic circle shut, sometimes the first stitch gets pulled really tightly, and I find it hard to insert my needle later on, so I'm just doing it at this point. And then we pull at the tail, and the magic circle is shut. So now we're going to again increase in every single stitch so that we end up with 12 stitches in the end. So we're going to do 1 single crochet and 2, 3 and 4, Just repeat that until you count to 12. 5, 11, and 12. And now I'm going to insert my stitch marker again, just again between the yarn and the needle. And for the next row, we're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase, and we're going to end up with 18 stitches in total. So I'm going to go into the first one, and then into the next stitch, and I'm going to put 2 single crochets into this one to make an increase. And you're going to repeat that until you hit your stitch marker. And the last increase, 1 and 2. So as I said, now you have 18 stitches in total, and for the next row we're going to do 2 single crochets and then 1 increase, and we're going to end up with 24 stitches in total. So we're going to go into the first stitch and do 1 single crochet, and into the next and do another, and then in the third stitch we're going to increase by putting in 2 single crochets, and you repeat that until you hit your stitch marker. And the last set, so that's 1 increase here in the end. And now for our last row of increases, we're going to do 3 single crochets and then 1 increase, and we're going to end up with 30 stitches in total. So we're going to go 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to do 1 increase into the 4th stitch, and you're going to repeat that until you hit your stitch marker. And the last one, here's our last increase. So now we have 30 stitches in total, which is the same amount of stitches as we had in the end of making our base for our mushroom. So what we're going to do now is do 30 stitches, so just 1 single crochet in every single stitch for 3 to 4 rounds. It just depends on how high you want your mushroom top to be in the end. So I'm just going to do 3 rows of 1 single crochet in every single stitch now, and we're going to meet after that, and I'm going to check if I like it or if I would like another row just to make it a little more elongated. So I'm going to go in there, just do 1 single crochet all the way around for 3 rows. So I just finished my 3rd row, and when I just put this on top of here, I see I want it a little taller. I don't know if you can see, I used a slightly thinner yarn for the top than I used for the bottom, so I think it works out just fine. This is not an exact science, but when I made this one, I used the same thickness of yarn for the top and the bottom part, and there 3 rows worked out just fine, I think. But for this one, I'm just gonna do another row and maybe even a 5th one, because you have options in life, and that's what we're just gonna do here until we like it. So I just finished the 4th row, and I decided that this is a nice height for me and I like this one, so I'm going to bind off again by just going into the next stitch, pulling the yarn through and pulling it through the loop we had on our hook. And this time I'm going to cut off quite a long tail because we're going to use this to sew the top of the mushroom to the bottom. And I just pull through the yarn and you tuck on the end. And the next thing we're going to do is put the little dots on top of our mushroom cap. So the way we're going to do this is I just threaded some white yarn, just a little bit, onto a pointy needle. And I'm going to take the cap that we just made and really just randomly, sort of randomly, go through there. Just pull the yarn through, not all the way, but keep your little tail down here. And then just insert the needle back in a little above or below where you just came out. And that way you're going to make a little dot right there. I'm just going to keep doing that on various heights on the mushroom until I like the way that it looks. Overall, don't make it too tight or else you will pull the mushroom on the inside, and we don't want that. So just go ahead and do this quite loosely until you like it. So now I like the way that this looks, and I'm just going to bind off by just getting the inside out and just going underneath one of the strands of yarn and just going through the loop to make a little knot. And then I'm going to do another one just like that. And now I'm just going to take the needle off and put the inside back inside of the little cap. And I'm just gonna put the thread just right inside because it's gonna act as filling. And now we're going to really fill this little mushroom cap. I'm going to start by putting a little bit of filling just in the middle inside. And now we're going to take our little rattle element and place it in there. And now comes the tricky part, because we actually have to fill it, but it's of course gonna just fall out because it's so open. So we're going to just put a little bit of filling in there, and we're really gonna fill it later on whilst sewing it to the bottom part. So have no fear, this is all going to work out later on. Yeah, so pretty. And now we're just gonna start sewing it to the bottom by threading this long tail that we left onto a needle. So, and how we're going to do this is we're obviously trying to achieve something like this, and I want the blue part, the top part, to cover the bottom of the, or the top of the bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert our hook, our needle, sorry, into the bottom. And I'm just going to go under this little V here from the bottom, pull the tail through, and then insert it back again from underneath the top part, and also go into the little V there. And now I'm going to stitch on the top into the next V of the top, and again insert the needle from the bottom into the next stitch of the bottom. And you're going to repeat that all the way around. And while you do that, so again from underneath into the next V here, while it starts to close, you're going to keep stuffing the parts that are already closing. So I'm going to do about, I don't know, half maybe, and then I'm going to start stuffing those parts from the open side. But I'm going to show you that in just a second. Just keep closing it halfway. So I sewed it about halfway, and you can really see how the bottom part is just being I don't know, kind of sucked into the top part, so that when you look at it you will just see the top part and not the bottom so much. And now that I have this part shut, I'm just going to start taking little pieces of stuffing and just putting more in there to really get this shape going and make it as tight as possible, whilst just keeping I just keep sewing it shut a little more every time, and I just go underneath here and then back from underneath this one, and then I stitch from the top into the next, and go in there. And just whilst doing that, I try to push in more filling as I go and keep this really tight, so that in the end I hopefully have a nice mushroom. Okay, and there we have it. So I'm just gonna weave this in now, just randomly into the mushroom to hide the tail. Pull this out again. Go and back through, and I'm just gonna cut this off, and I'm going to do the same thing with the white tail. I'm just going a little crisscross here to make sure the tail doesn't unravel at some point. There we go. Pull out the needle, cut this, and there we have our little mushroom rattle. You can see with this one that the top is just bigger because I used the bigger yarn. You do whatever you like, and you tweak the pattern whichever way you want to get exactly the mushroom that you like. But now I have two little rattles to give to people with babies. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you're really proud and happy with the little mushroom rattle you hopefully have in front of you right now. Please, if you like the video, like, comment and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.